Hi, so let's talk about starting a business. Starting a business because I've started many businesses in my time. You're probably thinking of starting a business. If you're an entrepreneur like me, you're probably thinking of starting another business. If not, you should be. You could be a freelancer who's thinking of starting a business because, freelancing is okay, but you want a bit more time and you want to take control of your agenda. You could be an employee, you could have a comfortable salaried life, but it may be missing something. You want to do something a bit more creative, something that's a better use of your skills. You want to make a bit more money. You want a bit more freedom. So starting a business is, I believe, one of the things that everybody should try in their life. I've started many, as I say, I've started many businesses. Some have been successful, some have been failures, but on balance, it's probably, well, I know for sure it's been successful. If you ask me, would I do it all again? Without a doubt, I would do it all again. In the last 20 years of my business experience, there is absolutely no way that I would trade 20 years of working as a salaried employee or a professional or a freelancer for 20 years of learning my own mistakes and making my own way in that journey, which is called becoming an entrepreneur. So, it's an adventure, and I believe that, starting a business and becoming an entrepreneur is an adventure, and it's an adventure which, you have to take because you get to live life on your own terms. Being an employee or a freelancer, you don't get that kind of freedom that you do get with starting a business. What happens when you start a business is you trade comfort for freedom. You trade security for choice, which means that you're not on this predefined path where everything's done for you. You have to make decisions yourself, and that's how you grow as an individual. Okay, yes, you'll make more money in the long run, but the real reason you should be thinking about starting a business is to grow, because you'll discover skills, you'll discover potential which you never would have tapped if you were kept locked in that cage as a freelancer or an employee. So let's talk about starting a business. Some of the myths about starting a business that stop people starting. First of all, if you're an entrepreneur, you should never stop starting. If you're an entrepreneur and you have a business, one of the mistakes I made in the past was I had just one business, and I believe that entrepreneurs should be always thinking about starting new businesses, especially in this day and age. And that's something that I like to teach in my course, for example, how easy it is to start a business these days. If you're a freelancer or an employee, you can start a business on the side and build that business up such that it de-risks the decision for you to leave one business, which is your employed or your salaried business, and then become a full-time entrepreneur on your own business. You don't have to go from having a salary to nothing. You can make that step a lot easier. You can transition that step, and it's so easy to do these days, and that's one of the things I like to teach in my online courses. So let's talk about the myths first. There's a whole bunch of myths. Let's go through this. Money. You don't need money to start a business. People think that you need to do a Shark Tank or a Dragon's Den type thing where you have to go and raise lots of money. You don't need to do that. And these days you can start a business for very little money. Well, you can't get less than zero money. There's going to be a bit of an outlay, but what does that compare to the average commute that you take on a daily basis, working for somebody else, right? So there will be some outgoings, but let's just say it costs nothing to start a business these days. You don't need a qualification. There is no degree for starting a business. You don't need to go to business school to learn how to become an entrepreneur. You don't need any kind of qualification whatsoever. You can be at any age whatsoever. And that's really because you don't need permission to start a business. Nobody needs to give you permission for you to pick yourself to start a business. So maybe you're thinking, maybe I can't become that consultant, or maybe I can't do that business because I need somebody to say yes. The only person that needs to say yes is you. If you want to become an expert or a consultant or start your own business and you feel, maybe I'm not qualified or I'm not like that person who's really well established and famous, you just got to pick yourself. Because everybody who ever was successful picked themselves, choose themselves. That's what you've got to do. Just pick yourself. You don't need permission. Don't wait for permission to start your business. Don't wait for the perfect time. It ain't going to come, right? The perfect time to start a business, if there ever was one, is now. You're not going to get all your ducks in a line before you start a business. Everything's going to change anyway. The best way to start is to start right here, right now, not keep thinking about it, right? And there's things that you can do, and these are the things that I teach, that you can do very small steps to get started right now, today, right after this video. You don't need connections. You don't need to have gone to a privileged school. You don't need to have gone to some MBA course or privileged elite part of society which you belong to. You don't need any of that. You can start a business with just yourself. And the great thing about these days with the access to the internet is you can tap into lots and lots of people and customers. You don't need to ask anybody for permission to do this. And here's the best thing, right? You don't need to form a company to start a business. So one of the things that puts people off is that kind of legal paperwork that people think they need to do, that money that they need to pay, need to get a lawyer, an accountant, or you don't need any of that to start. You can start right here, right now. You can have a business right after this video if you decide to start. You can incorporate the company later on. And one of the things I like to teach in my course is incorporation is the second step, right? The later step in starting a business. Start the business first, because until you have a paying customer, you don't have a business. So don't even think about registering a company until you get a paying customer, right? It's a waste of time. Absolutely. So that's holding you back. So don't let that hold you back. Just start right now. All you need is an idea and a way to sell that idea to somebody, and somebody who wants to buy that product or that idea from you, is willing to pay money for it. That's all you need. It's very, very simple. All that stuff about qualification, age, experience, permission, connections, you don't need any of that. And you can get started, right? When I started a business 20 years ago, I had no idea how to do it. I learned from myself. There was really no internet 20 years ago. We're talking mid-1990s. I mean, nothing like it is today. I couldn't go onto YouTube and just Google this stuff or whatever. When I started a business, I didn't know anybody who had business experience. I had no experience myself, had no qualifications, had no money. I didn't even know what I was going to sell. But I decided that I want to work for myself. And it's one of those things that you just have to do. You can't do this unless it's 100% committed in your own heart and mind that this is what you want to do. Back then, I walked into my boss's office I was working in the city in finance in London. I walked into my boss's office in the morning, on a Friday morning. I remember it being a Friday. I remember going on the tube, in the train, going to the office. I walked in and I said to him, I quit. And he said, why do you quit? You're like the best sales guy in this team. I said, I quit because I just have to do this. I want to start my own business. And he just sat down and he said, well, I can't stop you. Obviously this is something that you want to do. That's something that's part of your story. It's part of your journey. You just have to do it. And I just had to do it. I didn't even know at that time really what I was going to do as a business. But it kind of, over the next few days, I decided that I was going to sell computers, build physical computers. Back in those times, you could make money doing that. Build computers and sell them. I'd never built a computer before, but I knew I could sell them. So that was my first ever business. And I didn't have any experience, any money, I didn't have a computer or any knowledge whatsoever, but I just started. So that's the important thing, is just to start. That's how you got to do it. As Einstein says, it's easier to steer a moving bicycle. So you just got to get on the bicycle and pedal, and then you can steer it. If you're trying to steer the bike when it's stationary, it's really difficult. And that's kind of what it's like when people think about starting a business and they're not sure, what to do here or how I'm going to do that. The key is to get the momentum, just to get started, that first step, just to say, I'm going to start a business, and make that commitment, share that commitment with other people. So one of the great things you can do with a business, and this is what you can't do with a salaried position or as a freelancer, is you can really design your finances in a way that's beneficial to you. And one of the things that I like to teach the people that I work with on the masterminds, or the startups that I work with, is to build a lifestyle business and to take the cash flow from that lifestyle business and to put that into an investment business. And that's how you can really build wealth. You will never get freedom or wealth working for somebody else or being a freelancer. The only way that you can build wealth isn't even through a business, is taking cash flow and investing it in assets that grow overnight. That's how you build wealth long term. I mean, that's a long term 10-year strategy, but you've got to get there by starting a business first, so you can have a machine that can create cash flow for you. I love this quote by Bob Dylan. He says, a man and this could be a woman as well, right? A man is a success if he gets up in the morning and gets to bed at night, and in between he does what he wants to do. And that is what it's about, folks. That's why you should think about starting a business, because success is something that you need to define for yourself. If you can do what you want to do between the moment that you wake up in the morning and go to bed at night, you are a success. No matter how much money you make, that is the definition, because otherwise it's a complete waste of life. The good news, folks, is it ain't difficult to start a business. This is what I teach in my online courses. You can do this, and you can have a business, and you can have a business started today, and you could be up and running and sell your first product within 30 days. But whatever you decide to do, decide to start. That is the first step. So many people get caught up on that first step, but it's the easiest one to make. Decide that you are going to start a business. You don't know how you're going to start. You don't know what the business is. You don't know the product, the customer, or anything yet. But in your mind and in your heart, you know that you have to run your own business at some point in life, and it starts today. My name's Graham Brown. Thank you very much for watching this video. I hope to see you on future videos soon.